PBS viewers nationwide are anticipating next week's in-depth look at cancer, past and present, in the Ken Burns three-part series, Cancer, the Emperor of All Maladies. And viewers here at Rocky Mountain PBS will get a special bonus in the affecting film about 50 women in North Carolina with incurable breast cancer who took part in an experimental medical protocol at Duke University to show there can be a better way of life and death for cancer patients and their families. This Sunday evening at 7 o'clock, you can see their journey in the documentary What Love Is, the Duke Pathfinders 50, followed then Monday through Wednesday by the Ken Burns series. We are about to meet the Colorado social worker who pioneered the idea of the Pathfinders, but first here's a short bit from the beginning of the film.
What 3 words would you like on your tombstone?
Love is one.
I want to know what love is. I want you to show me.
Look, I lived with this woman for 57 years. I've loved her all the time. I love her with all the stuff that's going on. I still love her, and it's difficult for both of us. There's no question about that.
How can despair be turned into hope for people affected by cancer? 50 women with 6 months to live light the way.
Imagine a word that everyone knew but no one ever explained. Imagine if that word named an experience that everyone was supposed to have but no one was directing where to get. And imagine if almost every popular song was about what it was like to find it, to express it, or to lose it. We have such a word, and the word is love.
That's the opening sequence from What Love Is, which goes on to introduce 50 women who confronted their cancer and their mortality with the help of Tina Staley, who joins me now. A woman who was in Aspen and putting together this remarkable idea of how cancer should be as you're living with it. And welcome, first of all.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
And you have a brother who had cancer, and this is what turned your attention to it originally?
Yes, my brother was diagnosed about 16 years ago with leukemia, and I spent 3 months with him in a bone marrow transplant ward.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I really got in touch with the loneliness, the fear, the isolation that associates a cancer diagnosis.
And that is really what happens. People's whole attention seems to focus or shift to the medical part of their situation, when of course the mental and emotional toll is great as well.
Well, when you're told you have cancer, it's a major crisis. And so that's where our society has gone, is the medical. You know, what can I do? Do I have a cure? How can I fix this? And what we've really seen is that you just cannot look at cancer from a medical perspective. You have got to look at it from the psychosocial perspective and the whole person. And it really is a disgrace in this country that we just look at it from the medical model, because there's so much more involved for patients and for their families.
In fact, viewers will see in the film how when this experimental situation began at Duke, you had some pushback from people on the oncology staff. They didn't want to have this thing in their way, this idea of trying to support people. emotionally.
Well, no, yeah, it was a real breakthrough. It was the first time that a study like this had actually been allowed to take place within the clinic. So they were very resident of it at first. But it was interesting because as they saw improvements with the patients and the outcomes that were occurring, then they became much more accepting, and now they don't feel they can live without it.
That is the best thing you could do or have happen with one of your ideas, I would think. You did become so very involved with all these women. You moved to Durham, North Carolina for the 2 years. How was that for you? I mean, I'm sure it was uplifting to be able to try out what you thought would work, but the toll of knowing people who have little time left to live must be daunting.
It is, but I couldn't do the work if there wasn't so much love in it. And I think that's really what the film captures. You know, many times people might be a little fearful to look at this film and, oh my goodness, it's 50 late stage. But when you see how they took their life back from cancer, even in the last stages, and how they learned to love deeper, have more purpose, more meaning, work with their thoughts, and turn that fear much more into acceptance, not only through the diagnosis, but even into end of life, then it's so incredibly rewarding.
And one of the patients we meet in the film has a heartbreaking story right at the beginning. Here she is with her first pregnancy, twins. She loses the pregnancy. Tell us more about her.
Oh, she's just an amazing human being. And not only did she lose her twins, but she almost lost her life. But if it wasn't for the brilliance of her doctor, Dr. Kim Blackwell, I'm happy to say that she's still here today. Things are very trying. But what she has done is, from 7 years ago, that place of incredible fear and loss and grief, she has really now been able to turn that around to find some form of an acceptance and peace around her diagnosis, because there's a good chance that she won't obviously live, you know, a lot longer. And I just spoke with her the other day, and it's remarkable. She's so clear. She's doing her bucket list. She's done her end-of-life planning. She's organized everything. And I'm like, how do you do it? And she said, it's just been the work. She says, I'm really okay.
She's in a great mental place. How about her husband? Is he doing as well?
That's the difficult part. Caregivers and what they've been through, there's just not a lot mentioned about family and caregivers and the stress that is placed on them.
So describe briefly what journey you took these women on to become more at peace with what they were dealing with.
Well, what we do is a combination of mind-body techniques. So it's the relaxation, it's the visualization, it's allowing them to tap into a place of peace within themselves, no matter what's going on outside their world. And then we also work with the mind, because we truly believe when you're in a state of fear, actually anytime, so much is about our thoughts.
That's right.
So, right, you lie in bed at night, or you're thinking, especially in these situations, am I going to die? You know, is the cancer coming back? How will my family be? What is my job, my finances? And it's just overwhelming. So we really work on taking those stressors and breaking them down one stressor at a time, and really learning how to figure out for yourself what you need to feel better.
Your partner in this, originally in Aspen, Kristen McDermott, is a marriage and family counselor,
She's a
I think she said.
marriage and family,
So the two of you, I remember hearing her say in the film, she was a little bit like, yeah, meditation, I don't have time for that. And so it took a little while for the two of you to decide how you would work together on these things.
Yeah, it was a really beautiful combination of both of our skills coming together and really creating a curriculum that helps.
What happened one day when you got this call from Duke Cancer Center?
Oh, well, I'm working in a broom closet in Aspen Valley Hospital, literally, and I get a call from this gentleman who wants to come visit, and he happens to be the director of the Cancer Center, and he had heard a lot about the program through patients, philanthropy, etc. And it was just one of those moments. You know how you have those moments in life where your whole world changes from that minute you meet someone. Well, that's what it was like for Dr. Kim Lowerly, the director of the breast cancer, and to believe enough that he was willing to bring us to Duke and get the evidence base. And it was a very tricky situation because we knew it worked. You know, we'd seen it in patients' lives and the tools that we were teaching them, and we saw the improvements in the families and the children in their lives. But then to get research behind it and take that chance that you don't know what the outcomes are. You know, there's so many variables.
That's right.
So, and the outcomes were unbelievable because what it showed that even though their symptoms were getting considerably worse, they actually perceived their quality of life as better in terms of hopelessness, helplessness, distress, and despair.
What Love Is, you may see it Sunday evening here on Rocky Mountain PBS, and then Ken Burns series Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.